Folks, it's October 3rd. There's a lot going on this month. John Kennedy's coming. October 28th, Senator John Kennedy. Who else? I'm meeting Mike Flynn this week, coming up. Also, Taylor Greene is coming to Connecticut. Meeting her, October 23rd, coming up. We have an event on October 25th. Please come to Norwalk, Connecticut, to Ponza, meet the Sandolos, superlative Republicans. And there's an outdoor tent for CTRA, very important. Who wants to join CTRA? I'm the only member in Norwalk, Connecticut. I'm the only conservative Republican in Norwalk, Connecticut. But when it comes to opioids, I'm sticking with Brian Merlin. When it comes to other issues, I meet more than halfway. I think I'm the only guy doing anything in Connecticut. I can't even get the list of the talking points of the GOP, which I need for the New York Times, the Daily News, Vanity Fair, the Wall Street Journal, and the Post. All 5 papers want the Connecticut talking points for the GOP in Connecticut. So hopefully someone, somewhere, doing something, which I'm not sure is happening, comes back to me because they don't think the Senate race is important. Let's get on topic. Let's get off this topic. This is important, okay? Watch. Read the screen. Ready? This is a report from the Office of Military Affairs in the state of Connecticut from July 27th, 2020, okay? This is an old article, but it's the only one that hits all topics. Connecticut is near the front of all states in $4,560 per person is military spending per citizen in Connecticut. Okay? Now, that doesn't compare to Washington, D.C., that gets $10,779 per person. That's because of the lobbyists, okay? Here's Oregon, a piddly $565 per citizen from the defense budget. Connecticut is home to Pratt & Whitney, a subsidiary of Raytheon. It makes F-35 fighter jet engines, Sikorsky aircraft, Lockheed Martin helicopter manufacturer, and General Dynamics Electric Boat, which makes nuclear submarines in Groton and in Rhode Island. Okay? So those are the Connecticut manufacturer of military spending. However, look at this next article. 50 House Democrats urge Biden to significantly slash the defense budget. They want to lower it by $700 billion. See the number? Now, AOC is one of them. She's working with Jim Himes on the Progressive Caucus. Here's the Progressive Caucus list. Okay? Barbara Lee, horrendous. Mark Pocan, horrendous. And Jake Auchincloss, Democrat, Massachusetts, co-signed with prominent progressives. Here's the problem, okay? The budget has $3.4 billion, which is $1.4 billion unfunded. They need to cut costs in certain places to get what they want and boost the budget in areas, but they think by pulling out of Afghanistan, they can lower the defense budget. I hate to tell you folks, this is dangerous thinking, okay? What is actually happening? Let's turn to a third article right here. Connecticut defense industry targets new technologies as global threats evolve. This is an excellent article, okay? Here we go. As we were saying, New machinery being sought from companies with Connecticut ties include lightweight aircraft engines that can travel longer distances, nuclear submarines that never need to be refueled, and faster attack reconnaissance helicopters. Here we go. Pratt & Whitney Sikorsky, an electric boat, said Friday the need for such advances is being spurred by a realignment of the U.S. military focus from wars in Iraq and Afghanistan to peer adversaries such as Russia, China, and also North Korea. Executives from the company spoke at a global security forum in Hartford hosted by the World Affairs Council of Connecticut, which continues Saturday. Okay? That's yesterday. Here we go. Competition with China, in particular, has put pressure on U.S. companies to provide new technologies at a breakneck pace. Thomas Preet at Pratt & Whitney, Vice President of Engineering, told an online and in-person audience. Get ready, folks, okay? What I'm telling you is that Senator Richard Blumenthal has Chinese investments in television, radio, and 2 gigantic malls near Disneyland, China. So here we go. We've got the perfect storm here. We've got progressives like Blumenthal and Himes and Murphy, okay, wanting to support, okay, this 50-person legislative body reducing the federal budget, which will hurt Connecticut in many ways, okay? Now, we had a recent announcement of a gun manufacturer leaving Connecticut for Tennessee, and they're all cheering. They're taking gun rights away from law-abiding citizens and saying crime is down when it is actually up 30%. Crime was down during the Trump administration due to closing the border. And now, since they all have Biden's proxy to cross the border illegally, we're in a different situation with drug trafficking, human trafficking, and organized crime, including gang violence. So, read the article. Electric boat was once relied upon to build 1 submarine a year at the shipyard in Groton, or even less than 1 a year. The company's chief information officer, Ken Gianos, said Friday, now the company has orders to produce 2 Virginia-class attack submarines each year and began production of its Columbia-class ballistic missile submarine. Okay? That brings it to an annual output of 3 ships at a unit of General Dynamics. Keep going down. Sikorsky Vice President Business Mike Ambrose said a subsidiary of Lockheed Martin had invested over $1 billion to develop future vertical lift technology aircraft. Okay, that includes X-2 helicopter, the eventual replacement for the Black Hawk, and, for example, Harriers, which are made in Connecticut. And when you start to look at the mission involved, aircraft have to go faster, farther, and be more supportable with less bases. So not only are we closing prisons in Connecticut, our legislators want to close bases around the world. And this is very critical, this paragraph, the output of Connecticut's 3 largest defense contractors, in addition to the web of more than 700 suppliers in state, make Connecticut the 6th largest recipient of defense spending in 2019, according to the Department of Defense. Now, ask yourself, if the $37.1 billion in contracts in the state with Electric Boat, as well as billions more from Pratt & Whitney for the F-35, and dozens of helicopters at Sikorsky, including the heavy lift CH-53K King Stallion, when they reduce the budget, which is what half the Democrats in the state are doing. Keep in mind, Joe Courtney votes with Pelosi 96% of the time. Look at Larson, 93% of the time voting with Pelosi. Look at Jim Himes, working for Pelosi on the Progressive Caucus 96% of the time. So, if 50 legislators in the Congress are forcing Pelosi through AOC's language to reduce defense spending, this will crush Connecticut. They obviously are talking out the left side of their mouth, taking campaign contributions from Lockheed Martin, Electric Boat, Sikorsky, and what happens? We need to start backing candidates that fully understand that not only do cuts in the defense budget, the only reason why our currency hasn't collapsed is because we have an excellent military. The only reason. Because every other country's currency is going down in lockstep. They're losing purchasing power too. Every single country losing purchasing power is going to have food shortages, energy shortages. Look at the Russian pipeline. Look at the Alaskan pipeline in the United States. Biden is helping Russia sell gas. What's happening with our gas production, our oil production? It's falling apart, folks. Look at our import-export in Connecticut. Tweed Airport just lost American Airlines this week, and the train tracks to the container ship hub in Hartford in New Haven has been shut. So, New London. These are critical infrastructure things that Biden has no business in doing. We need to leave the train tracks to New London in operating. If he wants to put a windmill there, who cares? It shouldn't interfere with the train tracks that are existing. Removing the train tracks to New London is a gigantic mistake because we have outages. There are container ships off California, 56 at one port. Now we have container ships off New Jersey, New York, and the number are mounting, leading to outages. And what did Biden do? He doubled the tax on lumber imports. What's going on? He just appointed the Interior Minister, who is a BLM eco-terrorist. What you don't understand is the new appointee just put 500 pounds of nails in trees that when they go to the lumber yard to be processed, cause accidents. Okay? One gentleman in Washington State loaded lumber on a truck to be milled onto a saw that had a blade the size of a human. It hit a nail, cut his chin off, opened his entire head, and the anti-lumber people are celebrating the fact that they are attempting to kill or maim lumberjacks. I'm not making this up. This is fact. If you watch the Senate hearings, you would know. So, the nominees of Biden, in many cases, are eco-terrorists. Rather causing harms to lumberjacks than provide lumber for the building industry. They would rather have $96 a sheet for plywood in Rings End Lumberyard in Darien, Connecticut, which is a fantastic organization. But let me tell you, We have problems. The defense industry is critical to Connecticut. We get $4,600. It's over $5,000 now. Income per person in the state on average. Why? To defend American interests in other countries. Now, the fact that Richard Blumenthal supports the Houthis with Senator Murphy, which is a terrorist organization, or the fact that Iran, there's a bill, Iran just asked for $10 billion, which has been held by Americans in banks. They're asking for the release of that money, which would go towards the centrifuges in Iran. Keep in mind, why would Blumenthal support Palestine over Israel? Israel has 9 million citizens. Iran has 60. Iraq has 38 million. If we don't support everything that Israel does, we're going to end up with no allies there. If we don't support Saudi Arabia and their effort to stop Al-Qaeda, ISIS-K, and other extremists, the extremists in our Congress, these 50 I'm mentioning, will defund Connecticut and the defense industry that Americans are relying on. So, please, find out who Larry Laser is. Find out who Mike France is. Find out who Dominic Rapini is. Find out who Stefanowski is. Come to our event on October 25th. Please bring a small check, introduce yourself, and tell us what you want and need. We are working. I can't speak for them. They have a gamut of different views than I do. I'm a conservative. My father was chairman of the Conservative Party of New York. I am fighting like a Flynn. You need to fight like a Flynn. You need to vote for a guy who fights like a Flynn. Because we're going to court against Firetree this month. There's a trial in November. We got admissions from Firetree. We filed a case in 2017, 4 years ago. Kaholic, chief of police, is on the board of Firetree. Bob Duff is receiving campaign contributions from Robinson and Cole, Firetree's attorney, who falsified evidence, falsified affidavits, falsified the statements of Harry Rilling, said no permits of any kind were issued to Firetree to build a federal prison while we're closing maximum security prisons in Connecticut, sending serial rapists out back on the street to commit more murders, as Gusto Clemente attempted to do. He was in our maximum security prison, sent to a mental health institution, unequipped to handle the kind of violence he is known for. And what's the story with the Connecticut court? They issued a 30-year restraining order for a cat. I kid you not. I have it on my phone, on this phone. There is a restraining order from a cat against Gusto Clemente, who cut a deal with Richard Colangelo so he could be sprung. That's what our state's attorney's doing. They're not protecting the people. Violent crime is up 30% this year. Crime was down during the Trump administration because he was closing the border. Bob Duff wants to open the border, increase human trafficking, increase fentanyl to Connecticut. They just passed marijuana legislation giving gummy bears to 2- and 3-year-olds, and 3,125 children have just been hospitalized due to cannabis in gummy bears. An unforeseen problem from a badly thought of policy. And you can talk about every policy individually, why they're bad. Look at the Connecticut problem with the claims commissioner. 100% of the claims filed with the claims commissioner are dismissed. 100%. They had a 98% dismissal rate for 10 years. Look at the facts, folks. Connecticut needs the money it's getting for Electric Boat, Sikorsky, and General Dynamics, and without a properly funded defense, those 50 Democrats, including Jim Himes, my congressman, who took OxyContin bribes, is responsible for the Dominion voting system in Connecticut. Oh yeah, Dominion's office. Dominion was purchased by UBS. Okay? They brokered a deal with China, with the Chinese nationals. And by the way, 300 Chinese nationals work for Richard Blumenthal's investment in Chinese malls. 300 Chinese nationals. So, on the one hand, they're collecting campaign contributions from Connecticut defense contractors. On the other hand, they're looking to devise ways to So we're going to lose people on both sides of the war against drugs. We're going to lose people on both sides. Veterans. I don't understand how Connecticut can claim they're assisting veterans if they're talking about cutting the budget to the defense industry, which Connecticut relies on. I don't understand why they're allowing a gun manufacturer to move to Tennessee to take away your gun rights for the law-abiding citizens while they restrict more and more laws to take, and they don't even support ShotSpotter. Let's say this. People criticize me, oh, you're a loud gong, you're talking about issues, you're not fixing them. I know how to fix gun violence in Connecticut. It's called ShotSpotter. 40 cities use it, and 129 don't. ShotSpotter just solved a case in Bridgeport, which I tweeted about moments ago, and the amount of the shots, the caliber of the shots is recorded. It's triangulated. They know how many shots are fired when the police approach a situation. They're better informed about what types of guns are being used. Is it a semi-automatic? Was it one shot from a low caliber rifle? Was it a assault rifle? Well, they need to know this. How do you solve crime in Connecticut? They don't. They have a 35-year-old murder investigation in Norwalk. They have another 20-year-old murder investigation in Norwalk. And they, even in the case I just mentioned about Gustas Clemente, the Norwalk SWAT team intervened the first time he was arrested. Now he's released. They needed a SWAT team to catch him in the first place. He tried to murder a woman who was a repeated rape victim, and they cut a deal. Richard Colangelo cut a deal. I'm getting her affidavit. I'll have it momentarily, and I'm going to read you what she says on this page. And if you don't follow it, you're going to be confronted one day with a violent felon. Let me ask you one question before I end this. I'm at 23 minutes. Why is Connecticut using confidential informants that are not registered through the FBI to commit violent crimes? Why is Connecticut doing this? Why is Richard Colangelo's office releasing a violent felon 77 times who robbed a Motel 6 at gunpoint? Why would you ever release a violent felon hired to kill a clean cop named Dealey, a clean cop named Lamb, and yours truly, John J. Flynn, had a serial murderer chase him down? Well, it comes back to Mueller. Mueller ran the FBI. Mueller was the handler of some notorious gangsters. Let's put it that way. I don't want to be shot myself, but I can tell you this. Comey ran the Connecticut FBI, falsified the Hillary Clinton email investigation, falsified the Mueller report, the Benghazi problem, and paid Bill Clinton $500 million bonus for what Secretary of State Hillary Clinton passed legislation on and approved the K container ship industry mess at Cape Canaveral in Florida. Now we have information that the Abraj Group is behind that too. Who's the Abraj Group? It's a Islamic money raiser that is bribing, paying its way to get their way. And we have sympathetic congresswomen like AOC, Tlaib, Presley. Who are the rest? Omar, oh my. We need to get our act together and get rid of these people. My father upstairs, this is my office, has sent over 250 campaign contributions this year alone to who? Josh Hawley, Ted Cruz, the best of what we have. John Kennedy, who's speaking in Connecticut. You should meet him, you should write him a check, and you should do it this month, the month of October. I'm at 27 minutes. This was going to be a super short post that people would watch. You need to understand how the defense industry works and how we're playing both ends, collecting bribes, and also, with the other hand, the Himes hand, defunding the national defense system for social justice plans and losing propositions. We need to be more conservative. We need to be proactive. And I don't hear people recommending anyone, but there is a fireman running against AOC who I will recommend and give my endorsement to. We've been following him for a long time. The media is slandering him, saying, oh, he's a bartender. Excuse me, he was a firefighter injured in 9/11 running for Congress in the Bronx. And by all means, he is conservative and he can possibly undermine AOC's control because the Democrats love her. Why? I don't know. Would you vote for someone who never saw garbage disposal, didn't know what that was? I wouldn't. Have a great day. So Flynn 2022, go to WinRed, $10 contribution. It's mandatory. I'm not going to put in more than $30,000 myself if you guys don't reach the goal that I set. When you reach the goal that I set, I already put $28,000 in. When you reach the goal that I set, which I'm not going to disclose, I'll put more money in, but I'm not going to break the bank for people who are not supporting me. So you better support Dominic Rapini. I heard he raised $20,000 last month. He's on his way to reaching the $80,000 goal to be funded by the state with his Secretary of State campaign. I believe he's getting $800,000 from the state if he reaches the 10 times matching of the $80,000. I've written him a few checks. They're small. My dad's reserving judgment for Dominic Rapini, but his presence in Lower Connecticut is nil. But he's hopefully coming to the October 25th Ponza event, sponsored by CTRA, at the Walmart. I think it's 360 Connecticut Avenue. No, it's 630 Connecticut Avenue. Next to Bolarama. Across the street from Bolarama, next to Kentucky Fried Chicken, next to Home Depot in Norwalk, next to Walmart in Norwalk. Actually, Walmart uses Ponza's parking lot It's all connected. I hope to see you there. We're going to put an invitation out through CTRA. And CTRA, it's a CTRA function. So that's why Dominic Rapini is a member of CTRA. I hope he continues to outraise his opponents. I am sure, though he does have a Republican primary, he will prevail easily. And I hope people primary me, because it's an opportunity for me to shine. And I will out-debate anyone, since we've been preparing. And we won a national debate in the 2020 election based on content. I can show you something at the end of this article. Maybe I should bring it up right now on screen. Let's do that. Let's bring it up on screen. You ready? Let me describe what this is. Let me find it first. Close. Here we go. Can you see that? No. Can you see that? Yes. Let's bring it up. At this particular time, I had 21% in the presidential election of 2020 in Connecticut. Donald Trump had 15%, according to this poll. Joe Biden, 13. Bernie Sanders, 13. Buttigieg, 10. Steyer, 7. Warren, 6. Gabbard, 5. In other words, a poll was taken in Connecticut in 2020 in March. I ran for president of the United States just to get my name out there, and I was winning in the poll. But what happened? Denise Merrill destroyed, or had destroyed, every vote for me and the other 13 Connecticut's residents that ran against Donald Trump in 2020 as President of the United States. Did you hear what I said? I'm saying I have pictures of ballots of people who voted for John Flynn in Norwalk in the presidential election. However, Denise Merrill, our Secretary of State, cannot find them. So this is a survey from Connecticut that showed, I met Tulsi Gabbard's crew at the New Hampshire primary. At the time of the New Hampshire primary, there was a poll in Connecticut, and this was the outcome. Remarkable, okay, that she was able to hide the number of votes as a write-in candidate for President of the United States. Let me tell you, there are problems with the voting in Connecticut. Dominic Rapini is on it, and he will find a way to educate you about the process. And I appreciate your time and effort. Let's go to source 1. And I'm signing off. This is a military budget post, but you kind of need to know exactly how corrupt the state is and how half the state senators and congressmen are undermining your freedoms as Americans. Thank you very much. Have a great day.